Bilbo Baggins, a hobbit, was smoking on his porch at Bag End one day when Gandalf, the wizard, visited him. Before Gandalf leaves, he carves a secret mark on Bilbo's front door that indicates Thief's Mark. Soon afterward, 13 dwarves arrive at Bag End and begin discussing their planned treasure hunt, while the hapless Bilbo provides obligatory hospitality. After the dwarves and Bilbo clean up the mess of their hefty supper, a map is produced, and Gandalf arranges for Bilbo to take the job of burglar. The company's quest is to use a secret door to enter the Lonely Mountain, send forth their burglar to steal as much of the riches within its halls as possible, and do reconnaissance then to slay the dragon Smaug, who had claimed the mountains, and become rich again. The next morning, after oversleeping and nearly missing the start of the journey, Bilbo goes off with the dwarves. They are nearly eaten by 3 trolls, but Gandalf manages to deceive the trolls into staying up all night, whereupon they are turned into stone by the first light of dawn and die. In the trolls' lair, they find the trolls' storage of supplies, including several weapons. Bilbo acquires an elvish short sword, which he will later name Sting, that glows blue in the presence of orcs. Thorin acquires Orcrist, and Gandalf acquires Glamdring. The party travels to Rivendell, where they enjoy the hospitality of elves. There, Elrond finds moon letters on the company's map of the mountain, giving information about a secret door on its side. They then proceed eastward toward the Misty Mountains. There they are captured by goblins and carried to Goblin Town. They run away, and during the escape, Bilbo loses the dwarves. Alone in the dark after running away from the goblins, Bilbo finds a gold ring on the floor of a cave passage and puts it in his pocket. Little did he know that this was the one ring lost by Sauron centuries ago. Continuing down a tunnel, he finds himself at the shore of an underground lake. Gollum quietly paddles up in his boat, and the two engage in the riddle game, stipulating that if Bilbo wins, Gollum will show him the way out, but if Bilbo loses, Gollum will eat him. After several riddles, each of which he answers correctly, Bilbo, while rummaging in his pocket and struggling to think of a riddle, asks aloud, "What have I got in my pocket?" Gollum assumes this is intended as the next riddle, and since it violates the rules of the riddle game, he demands 3 guesses. Ultimately, he fails to guess the answer. Bilbo insists on his reward, but Gollum refuses and paddles off to an island in the lake, where he resides. After searching around for a while, asking aloud, "Where is it? Where's my precious?" To which Bilbo replies, "I don't know and I don't care. I just want to get out of here." Gollum becomes suspicious, gets in his boat, and starts paddling back across the lake towards Bilbo. Bilbo realizes his life is in danger and makes his escape down the maze of pitch-black tunnels, and Gollum gives chase. Bilbo trips and finds the ring on his finger. Realizing he has no chance to escape his pursuer, he stays where he is and prepares to meet his fate. But Gollum runs right over him. Bilbo realizes the ring, while on his finger, makes him invisible. He manages to escape past Gollum, who has gone to guard the only exit, and finds his way to the surface, where he rejoins the dwarves. Descending from the Misty Mountains, they survive an encounter with wargs and goblins by climbing trees. Eagles, summoned by Gandalf, then came to rescue them. They soon meet Bjorn, a man who can transform into a bear. They departed after having rested for several days. Gandalf leaves soon on an errand. The party traverses the great forest, Mirkwood, eventually running out of supplies. Gandalf had warned them not to leave the elf path, but they saw fire and heard singing. So, hopeless, they leave the path to beg food from wood elves, only to get lost. They are captured by giant spiders, but Bilbo rescues the dwarves by becoming invisible via the ring and killing many spiders with sting and rocks. Elves then capture the dwarves and imprison them, but Bilbo manages to sneak into the elven king Thranduil's palace unnoticed using the ring. He then helps the dwarves escape in barrels floating down the river. After staying for a short period of time at Lake Town, the treasure seekers proceed to the Lonely Mountain. Finding themselves unable to locate the secret door, the company sits down, depressed, on a cliff. Hearing a thrush knocking on a stone, Bilbo looks up just in time to see the last rays of the sun of Durin's Day shining on the cliff wall to magically reveal the secret door. Bilbo is sent down to meet Smaug, the dragon, who realized the company received help from the people of Lake Town and sets out to destroy it. However, the thrush that had been knocking on the stone was no ordinary bird, but of an ancient race with whom the men of Dale could communicate, and it had heard Bilbo's report to the dwarves that Smaug had a bare patch in his armor on the left side of his chest that could be used to slaughter him, if only you could get close enough. It conveyed this message to one Bard the bowman, who, seeing the bare patch on the chest of Smaug, dispatched the dragon with a single black arrow, thus allowing the party of dwarves to take possession of the treasure. The citizens of Lake Town arrive to make historical claims and demand compensation for the help they rendered, as well as reparations for the damage Smaug inflicted during his attack. They're joined by the elves, who also demand a share based on historical claims. The dwarves refuse all negotiations and, in turn, summon kin from the mountains to strengthen their position. Seeing no other way to avert a war, Bilbo uses the ring to steal the prized Arkenstone of Thrain from the dwarves, which he uses to broker peace. However, after revealing this to Thorin, the latter becomes furious and kicks him out. Bilbo then leaves and joins the recently returned Gandalf and Lake Town citizens. Just as a grudging truce is agreed to, the three armies at the Lonely Mountain, elves, men, and dwarves, are attacked by goblins and wargs from the Misty Mountains. A bitter battle ensues. Though suffering heavy losses, elves, men, and dwarves prevail with the help of the eagles. Thorin, Fili, and Kili are unfortunately killed in the battle, but just before he dies, Thorin makes peace with Bilbo. The treasure is apportioned. Bilbo refuses most of the riches, realizing he has no way to bring them back home. He nevertheless takes enough with him to make himself a wealthy hobbit and live happily thereafter, unaware of the dangerous nature of his ring, which he places in a glass case on his mantle.